Today's show is sponsored by ExpressVPN. Reduce your ping time and get faster speeds when you game at expressvpn.com/inside. Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the Inside Gaming Podcast for January 1st, first day of the new year. Hope you're not that hungover. Hope you had a good one. First off, the intros. I'm Brian, your host.
I'm Caden.
I'm Amir, and this is my PS5.
Hey, how's it going? It's me, at Darth Burrito. Just hanging out here, holding my Xbox Series X on my shoulder. I'm ready to talk about next-gen consoles. Happy New Year, everybody.
80s boombox style.
Yeah,
like
what
it.
is that Duke Nukem bazooka thing you got going on?
I was trying to do the Phil Spencer meme.
Those are some big boys.
You didn't notice?
Yes. So if the intros didn't give it away, we are going to talk all about the next-gen consoles. Specifically, we're kind of doing this from the perspective of two people, Amir and Evan, who got them. Caden and I don't have them. So we're going to be asking some questions of Evan and Amir about what the consoles are like, what they would like to see, because I assume that a lot of you also have questions and haven't been able to pick one up yet. So that's the theme of today's show. We're going to get 2021 started off right. So first off, I'm just curious, and I have a question for Amir. I've always heard so much about the PS5's controller. It seems like everyone talks about it. Is it all it's cracked up to be?
Yes.
Ooh, look at that thing. Hold it up. Do the Vanna White thing. Do the like.
Well,
yeah, baby.
Okay, he's
look
holding
at that
it up
presentation
for our audio listeners. He's
Now
holding
we're
up. He's
talking.
gesturing his hand over it nicely. Yes.
Yeah.
It is. I can confirm it is a DualSense 5. Sorry, go ahead, Amir.
It is a DualSense in all of its glory.
DualSense 5.
Yeah.
Sorry, a dual. What is it called?
Yeah.
DualSense.
It's
DualSense.
the
DualShock is gone.
Yeah.
The era
Right,
of the
it is
shock
now
is
the
over.
DualSense.
Now we are
no more
sensible.
shock.
Shock and
Exactly.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah. It's cool. I really like it. So I really only noticed it. I'm pretty sure only Spider-Man, both Miles Morales and Remastered, actually use the haptic triggers.
Oh,
there's
wow.
Astra's Playroom. Because currently I'm playing Spider-Man and Mortal Kombat 11, the PS5 version, but there's no like adaptive triggers in that game, which I was kind of bummed about.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's definitely like when I first got the Switch and there was the HD Rumble, that blew my mind because it was like, I think it was like, like some games when you like move the Joy-Cons, you can feel like the little things moving around in there.
One of those
But that
1-2
happens
Switch
with this.
games.
Yeah,
or
1-2
something.
Switch
Yeah.
is great about that. It's just the game wasn't good.
right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, you get that with this, really, no matter what you're playing. Like if things are like flying by you, like let's say like something's like flying by on your the right side of your character,
Yeah.
you'll feel like a passing vibration on the right side of like the handle.
Oh, that's cool.
It's all very segmented.
That is
It's
cool.
It's really cool. Like honestly, like that is I mean, aside from like the insane loading times, the controller itself I'd say is like the coolest thing about this Sony's current gen console.
Yeah, that's one thing I've been worried about with the controller is that it sounds awesome, but who's going to use it? Is it just going to be a
Right.
first party thing, or are they going to? Yeah, are others going to take advantage? So hopefully it's the latter.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember when the Wii U came out and there was all those like Batman Armored Edition and like Mass Effect
Right.
or whatever, I think. And they
Yeah.
did incorporate the Wii U, but there was just Zombie U that like really, really used it
The
to great
gamepad
effect.
part.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the gamepad
Right,
part.
and then they ported that to the PS4 and the Xbox One, and everybody realized, oh wait, you don't actually need that at all, and the game's better
I mean,
without it.
I would still argue it's a
Exactly.
definitive way to play that game, but like,
Come on.
as a series,
I love the Wii U, but I don't know about that.
as a Series X like owner now, I guess I can say like the only upgrade we got for the controller was like the D-pad, and if you've been playing with Elite, Xbox controllers, you've already got a really, really nice D-pad. But this just feels, it is a nice upgrade. But compared to like what Sony's done here with the DualSense, I definitely feel like I'm missing out so much. I can't wait to own a PS5. I'm like getting antsy about it at this point.
Yep. Yeah, what do you? Just sort of a broad question for you, Evan. What do you feel like is the highlight or the best part so far of the Series X?
Oh man, I'm
Don't say backwards compatibility. Don't say backwards compatibility. Don't do it.
My choice is actually a lot more nerdy than that. I am just so happy that the menus and everything in the UI just is so much more snappy now. It's really fast, and that's just. Yeah. It's something that I feel like the Xbox One just struggled with out the gate, and late into its cycle, and even like up to like last year or something, it was still feeling really sluggish.
Yeah,
I mean, honestly,
it just didn't feel very well optimized somehow. I don't know.
My Series X chugs on the menu, but it doesn't chug in the games. It's just like, for whatever reason, if I'm rapidly switching between different hubs, it holds too long. Does that still happen with the Series X?
Not as much.
You said Series X, Caden. Did you mean like a 1X?
I meant the 1X,
yeah.
I think
it's not your fault. It's their terrible naming.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's like, I don't know. It's the names are kind of bad in general for Microsoft's consoles, but is it a noticeable upgrade for the actual like UI overall for like loading times and everything like that?
Yeah.
Because it seems different enough.
Yes, I think it is different enough. I don't know. Like it just feels like if you wanted the next like best and greatest Xbox, it is such just the easy thing to replace. It's almost like you wouldn't even know how they'd change, except this one is just much better. And like the UI and everything is like spiffier, it's faster, it's snappier, like all of that feels good. But it's like, it is different. Like I can definitely tell it's different, but it's like so subtle. It just feels like a little bit more modern. Like it's almost like it's just such a nice transition from last gen to this gen, but maybe that's a bad thing for some people, like because it doesn't feel as new or as spiffy, because it is primarily like really similar to how the layout and stuff was before. But
see, that was my biggest problem with the Xbox One, because I had an Xbox One for a bit. But the reason why I got rid of it was because of the UI. Like it was too.
I hated the early.
Yeah. I hated it too. Yeah, I much more prefer Sony's really simplistic UI because everything's just kind of laid out for you.
Right.
Like I feel like the Xbox One had too many sub menus, and I found it really hard to find things. So I mean, I don't know if they cleaned it up a bit more, like kind of dialing back the amount of sub menus.
They cleaned it up somewhat, or at least the new. But it was like, the old one. It was just like, where are my games? Like, why is it so hard to find my games?
I mean, I feel like it's kind of still has a little bit of that. It is easier now, but even like today, it was just like before this podcast, kind of zooming around the shop and looking around, and it's like if you hit new games, it's like a lot of new games, but like maybe games that aren't featured, and there isn't really like it doesn't curate the same way that like the PlayStation Store does.
Right.
I mean, they are similar in that they do that, but yeah, I think there probably could be some improvements there, but it still just looks really clean to me, and just like moving around is so much faster now, so you're not as annoyed, or you're like, oh yeah. And I'm sure like we've had it at this point. Like by the time you're hearing this, we've already put another month into like playing with these consoles. But it you familiarize yourself with it pretty rapidly, and then it's not like as much of an issue. But
does it feel like? And I guess this is a question for both consoles. Do they feel like proper next gen consoles, or do they feel like a little bit more of? I don't know. They've always both have seemed to hype a lot of quality of life improvements. So I'm curious as to whether it feels like a brand new console, or if does it feel like this is great, but it's it's sort of a lot of little things that add up.
Yeah, to me it does, and I should probably preface this by saying I had a base launch day one PlayStation 4.
Okay,
so I did a huge jump. Right. So a lot of things are very noticeable to me, like how snappy the menu is. Like on my PS4, I turn it on, it takes forever to turn on.
Right.
I want to boot into a game, it takes forever to boot into a game. I want to open the PlayStation Store, it takes forever to open the PlayStation Store. With the PS5, everything is like in instant. Like I think last night I was playing Mortal Kombat, and then I wanted to play Spider-Man Remastered. So I was literally like in a span of like probably like 5 seconds, I went from playing Mortal Kombat to in-game in Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So everything
that's
is just like
in
an instant. Like it's crazy. Like there are
you can't even really do that on a
times.
PC, can you? I mean,
exactly.
That seems
yeah. No, most PC games, like there's still like some kind of loading time there.
Right.
So honestly, like my mind is completely blown by this. So everything feels next gen to me. But again, that's only because I've made such a huge jump.
Yeah, I'd also say like yes and no. Like on the Xbox side, it's a lot harder because I don't have new games to play. Like there isn't a big hallmark like Assassin's Creed, I guess, could kind of fill that void.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah,
it does
kind of.
load fast and looks cool, but
Right.
it's like, and yeah, the quick resume stuff is incredible. That definitely feels next gen. Also, that the Series X can hold so many games at once and you can just fly between them. That feels incredible. But like, yeah, I don't know. Like I just like I downloaded Carto and like some indie other like Call of the Sea and stuff, and it's like these games look great and they are like inspiring in ways, but they're not like they don't feel super next gen in that way, you know. So it's like, and the controller again, like. If you are doing a jump like me and Amir, where you're going from, or I had an Xbox Series X now to Xbox One X, but even jumping from that controller to this controller, like it feels different. It's textured. That D-pad feels really good. You know, the triggers and the bumpers feel a little bit better. Like not much, not noticeably, but like you'll notice the D-pad, you'll notice the texture on the controller. But like as for games and stuff, I mean, that's where like Xbox Series X, obviously, you know, as you've probably well heard by now for like weeks and weeks, that's where it's certainly lacking. But yeah, other than that, I'd feel like it does feel like, I guess the 4K element of it does feel kind of next gen, but I think it's starting to get like into the weeds on that stuff. It's like you can choose between like a performance mode and like a resolution mode. And like as a side note, like now that things are in 4K, I've brought my Xbox One, I brought my Series X downstairs for now to like show off on the podcast, but upstairs on my 4K TV or whatever, it's like I can see like in the store, in the Microsoft store, like some I don't know if this happens on the PS5, but you're like, oh, that thumbnail for that product is definitely not 4K, was not ready for the jump to 4K, you know? So you can kind of see the resolution kind of taking a dump there. But yeah, it's weird. Like the 4K stuff is interesting and cool, but also it's like, it's starting to take away some of the simplicity of like having a console that you just plug and play and then having to decide, you know, which version of it you want. Like for some people, that's going to be really, really cool for them. Like I like that stuff, but I also like the ease and of saying like, this is just like the best version of this game on this platform. Just plug it in and go. And like being able to play games on a couch, obviously it like invokes that a lot. So I don't know what that experience has been like for you, Amir.
I mean, yeah, there's really the only like previous gen game I've actually played on it is Resident Evil 3, just to see. And I mean, I don't know. It's like, it's one of those things like, cause I do have a 4K TV and I don't know if it just looks better because of that insane jump I made. Cause I mean, like my base PS4, like a lot of stuff looked good. Like, you know, like The Last of Us 2, Ghost of Tsushima, like a lot of these games looked really good.
Yeah. Proper optimization is huge.
Yeah,
like
totally.
Because and especially like you're listing like, you know, first party IPs for Sony. It's like they know how to help those developers along with those things, comparatives to like say, and like you're saying, Resident Evil 3. How's that jump from the base PS4 to how it looked on the PS5?
I mean, it feels a lot smoother. So I don't know if it's just like my eyes like telling me like this looks a lot better because of how smooth it runs. It's because like the thing is like when you play a game, it's like about the whole experience, right? It's like, you know, I'm jumping right into this game. Everything is smooth. It looks crisp. It looks pretty. So to me, I feel like it is like there is some kind of enhancement happening there. But I mean, then again, a game like Resident Evil 3, like those remakes were pretty optimized for I think 30 FPS and like 1080. So like they weren't meant to go 4K. So I think what I should probably do is try like a game that can be optimized for 4K. Probably do like God of War or something.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard for me to also like comment on that. Like I played a lot of Tetris Effect, I guess, and I did notice right away. And I don't know if it's as like I also upgraded my TV in since Tetris Effect came out. When I was playing on my PS4, and it definitely feels more responsive, but it could just be because my new TV has like less latency. But like, I was flying through, you know, stacks of Tetris blocks like a lot quicker, and it felt like a little more comfortable. That combined with like new Xbox Series X D-pad and everything felt like better. But like, again, it's so hard to compare. And in 4K, it's like, I don't know, like it looks, I'm not the right person to ask, I guess. because it just still seemed like I was like, yeah,
Get
this is
out.
Tetris Effect. Yeah, and like to speak to the exclusive nature of Tetris Effect Connected, it's like if you want to play some chill ass Tetris for a really long time, like with other people, you can totally do that. Like they have different modes and things that you can do that with. So,
here's a question I have for both of you. First of all, how much time have you put into playing with the new console so far?
oof. Not as much as I'd like, you know, not as much as I'd like. I will say that.
Same.
Okay,
Yeah. I'd say probably a combined total of like, I want to say like maybe probably about like 20 hours, maybe 30 hours.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, probably about
I
the
don't know.
same.
Fair amount.
Gosh.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what? That's fine. That leads me into this. With the small amount of time that you've had with your own new console, what's the one thing that's made you think about the other console while playing the one you have?
Oh, DualSense, easily. That's no contest.
Backwards compatibility.
Yeah.
There it is. There it is.
Yeah. I mean,
That's a good
'cause,
question.
you know, like,
yeah.
right. That is a good question. Yeah. Because I mean, like with the PS5, you know, obviously they have PlayStation Now, which I messed around with on the PS4, and it was fine, but also kind of garbage. Like there were a few games that just didn't work. Like I remember I really wanted to play the first Red Dead, and no, it was absolute trash. Like
Really?
it was so bad, and like that's something I really want to
For
try
an
on here,
old
just see how
game
it
too,
runs.
that's weird. Yeah.
Yeah, well,
That
I think,
old of a game too. Like,
Right.
that
right.
That's
old.
what I mean.
I
Like
think-
10 years almost.
I think what it is, I think the PS4 had a really bad Wi-Fi card or something, like a really outdated. Like it wasn't meant for streaming, right? Like it wasn't meant to like run these games
Right.
just like off a cloud or
Right.
something. Whereas the PS5, like I feel like they really took that into account because I think like now the PlayStation Store is like built into the console
Yeah.
itself, as opposed to like accessing some like third party
Oh,
website through like
interesting. Yeah.
Okay.
yeah. So they took a lot of steps to make things like that work better and run smoother, because like accessing the PlayStation Store like is insanely quick, and like even downloading the game off the PlayStation Store is insanely quick.
Yeah, that's
Like,
new.
it just-
That's
Yeah, and that was actually the craziest part to me, because before, you know, I would like boot up or I would like buy a game, I would start downloading it, and I kind of just like already accepted the fact that I'm gonna have to wait like a few hours and just leave this thing going for a while.
Yeah.
I think it was for Spider-Man Remastered. Like I think it's like 70 or 80 gigs or something. It was done in like probably like 15 minutes.
that's amazing.
Wow.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
At one of my old places, I had like 100 up, 100 down, like insane internet, and it was awesome.
Wow.
yeah.
And on my PS4, it would still take just ages to download
Yeah.
full games like Bloodborne, whatever. Like I was like, okay, well, we're just in it for an hour, and it just like had to do with the way that on the Sony side, like the way that they had like their I guess their servers or whatever set up for you to pull content, and people had all these tricks of like, okay, you start the download and then you unplug your console and plug it back in, and it'll reseed to like a different server and pull it. And
Yeah.
like, yeah, it seems like they've really fixed that stuff with the PS5. So I'm also jealous of
Yeah.
that. But you know, Xbox not usually as much of a problem with that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But
Right.
and I can't really say if it's like much faster. I mean, I've just been downloading like Game Pass games left and right, and it like I've never felt like, oh, this is taking forever.
Right. That's actually another thing is Game Pass. I really,
Yeah.
really hope, and I know we'll probably get in the weeds on this, on what we want from like the next gen consoles, but I really hope that PlayStation does some version of Game Pass, because right now they have the PS Plus collection, which is fine, but it's a lot of games that I don't care to play.
Or you've
I
already
really hope
played,
they do
probably.
something kind of
Yeah.
like Game Pass. Or yeah, no, I was looking at, I think there's like probably 2 or 3 games that I haven't played to completion on there. And it's games
Yeah.
that I really don't care about
Yeah.
playing. So
Amir, you're a retro guy, so I thought you were going to talk about the emulation, like all the dev mode stuff that's been coming up with
Oh,
Series
right.
X. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
been wild. They're just like, okay, well, here's every platform for like every game, you know.
have you messed with that? Have you actually like tried putting a GameCube
Not yet.
game on there?
No, but
Oh.
I mean, I'm sure. Who could say if that happens sometime in the near
Right.
future? Who could say?
Yeah. I'd mess with it if I were you,
Yeah,
just
for
to
sure.
see.
Have either of you run into storage issues yet? in terms of just filling it up.
I haven't looked.
So-
honestly.
Sorry, I hiccuped.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been scared to look. But there is one thing that is weird to me, and I don't know if it's a bug, but so when you have a PS5 version of a game, Mortal Kombat, for example, you can switch versions. I don't know why. I don't know who the hell would
so
want to play
weird.
the PS4
Yeah.
version.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. So I was like, okay, well, I don't need this. This is just 60 gigs sitting on
Right.
my console. I'm
Right.
not going to play the PS4 version. So I deleted it. And when I went to play it, I had to re-download it to play it.
What?
Yeah, even though I
That
have two versions of the
sucks.
game. Yeah, it didn't make any sense. So that's one thing that I don't know if that's going to happen with most games, but
Yeah.
like that could potentially take up a lot of storage if you're downloading two versions of the same game.
How big were both versions the same size?
I think I'd have to go back and look
'Cause-
I don't know if maybe I
yeah.
just didn't look at it correctly, but
Right.
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, because
That's still
PlayStation
so wild, though.
You used to have
Like-
that weird thing where you needed the demo to like act like the demo was actually the full game sometimes, or had the key in it, or what you remember
Yeah,
that?
and then you need to download. It's like here's the you know, it's
Yeah.
like here's the demo of like Resident Evil 2, and then you actually like get the. It's like, all right, I'm gonna buy it, and then the buying it, it's like a 32 kilobyte key.
Yes.
That just goes boop, and it's like, all
Right.
right.
yeah.
Yeah.
But that's kind of
Yeah.
weird that it's 60 gigs,
Yeah,
and it
that's
just
weird.
says.
Just
It
sitting
says-
there. Yeah.
It just says PS4 version, right? It just says like, hey,
yeah.
this is the PS4 version of this game, and you're just
Yeah.
like, well, I don't want this. Delete. Okay, well, you can't play
Yeah.
the PS5
But
version.
it's weird that it's like a conjoined twin to the PS5 version. Yeah. And if you
Right, but when you go to your
that-
like storage, like your storage stuff, like they're listed as two different items. So like on your XMB or whatever, it's
Yeah.
just like it's one little box, and you just check like I want to play the PS5 version. But when you actually go into your like storage settings, they're two different things. I don't know why. Like I don't want the PS4 version. I'm never gonna play it.
Right.
Yeah, that is
Right.
wild. I guess on the Xbox side, it does feel like they've definitely, like Microsoft has taken an effort to like clearly mark games, either whether they're on Game Pass or the store.
Right.
Like if this is improved for Series X, there's like little tiny tags. And I'm still not like super familiar with the nomenclature of what everything means. And I'm still nervous about like, am I actually playing the best version of this? And you just kind of take it on faith that you are. And like, for example, with
Right.
like Control, there's like a big Control banner up on the Xbox store right now. But it's like, I know there's like Definitive Edition and Ultimate Edition. And it's like, if you click into that and you down, like, it just like, there's still like some uncertainty there. And hopefully they get through it a little bit. But it's like,
Yeah,
it's
this-
another one of those things that's like, we've got this backwards compatibility, but then like the messaging around like what version you actually are playing it does get a little bit muddied, even with the Xbox, like
Yeah.
still
This
clearly
also
kind of
feels
flagging.
like something the console should know. Like, okay, I know I'm a PS5. I should automatically switch to the PS5 version. I don't know.
Well, I can actually speak to that. I wasted $20 because I bought Spider-Man.
yeah.
So when I initially bought Miles Morales, I bought it digitally.
Right.
And I just bought the regular version. I'm probably not going to go back and play it, but I beat Miles Morales. I'm like, I kind of want to play it now. So I figured if I went into the store and bought Spider-Man, it would just like upgrade to the newest one. for free or whatever.
Oh.
But that didn't happen. It was still the PS4 version. And Sony has this freaking stupid ass policy where once you download the game, they can't refund it.
That's
Like,
really
how else am I
lame.
supposed to know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So then I had to go into Miles Morales, and they have a button to just upgrade for another $20. So I bought the game twice. Whatever.
But I feel like
but
I
it's
feel
that
like
kind
that's
of
a
stuff where you
little
don't know.
intentional on their part too, or making
Right.
it just sort of
Yeah.
a little unclear.
I don't
just
know.
to
It's
suck
That
an extra 20
sucks.
out of you.
one of the things that I think that they're going to learn, and this is going to be a while for them, is that I feel like even people who know what to look for, by burying things that are important to, your utilization of the game, it's like, I want to play with 4K, but 30 frames per second. I want to play at 1080, but I want to play with, the highest frame rate. It's like, that shouldn't be difficult to find or difficult to enable.
Yeah, it's usually
And
just
I
the choice. Like they pick what those settings are, and you have to pick between performance and resolution, and
And
then,
the thing
then
is,
it's
like,
locked.
yeah. It feels like based off of like what you two are saying, or at least from Amir's point of view, it's like, which is the version that I need to have those options available to me?
Right.
And you were
Yeah.
saying
Right.
that, like you were saying that with Control, and so it's like, just put the thing up there that says Xbox Series X/Series S,
And
and it's like, this is the one, and then it shouldn't cost you
Right.
money to make a
Right,
mistake.
exactly,
Amir.
right.
It shouldn't cost you that.
Yeah.
We
Plain and
can
simple.
detect that you already own Miles Morales. Do you just want the $20 upgrade? Yeah, like
Yeah.
they should. Surely can have that functionality.
Big
guess in-
banner, PS5 version. Buy this,
Exactly.
idiot.
Yeah, to be fair, like like I said, the Xbox Store does do that. They do label it, but even with the labels, I still find myself like wondering, because there's
It's
a
not
difference
obvious.
between there's a difference between like the backwards compatibility element that you're gonna get like better performance, and then obviously like the made better for Xbox Series X and
Right.
Series S, and those tags are there, but it's still just like And in Amir's case, I guess it's even more complicated because like he's dealing with two different versions of games, right? Because Miles Morales is standalone. So yeah, that would be a nice feature to be like, oh, this is in your collection. This is what you have.
Right.
And it's trying to be all things to all users, right? Because obviously there's a lot of people who are still playing on PS4, and like you don't want them to have the opposite problem of where like they bought a PS5 version for their PS4 or something. So I understand why it would default to like a previous version, and like I have more confidence honestly in the Series X that it will just let you play the best version that it knows, and does that more than just because what we've been hearing with the PS5.
Here's
Hopefully
the
they get it
question,
sorted,
Amir, is there like a separate section for PS5 games only?
There's gotta be.
There
right?
is,
But
but
I'm
it's
waiting-
it's not like. So I went to look for that. I think it was like one of the first things I did when I was like messing around with the PlayStation Store, and it's weird because it's not like just saying like here are the PS5 games that are available. It's just like here's what you could play. So there's like a handful of PS5 games on there, and then just like a bunch of like I think like Bug Snacks is on there. And, like,
Okay.
yeah, there's like a bunch of like games that are very obviously on the PS4 that you could just download and play here. I don't know. It's weird. It's not like
Bug Snacks.
I still need to play that, by the way.
Speaking of bugs, have you either, we've noticed some scattered issues reported. Have any of you guys had any problems with the console? Any like disk drive things or, just anything weird happened so far with your machine?
I am all digital,
a
so
few, Evan, you
nothing
got
yet
first.
for me. Sorry, go ahead, Amir.
Oh no, so you could list yours first.
Oh.
You said you got the digital one.
Yeah, well, no, I mean, I don't buy physical copies of games when I can avoid it.
Right.
Just because I have already I'm sitting next to I recently moved and I'm sitting next to 4 or 5 boxes of video game stuff that I just probably are not going to come out of those boxes. I just need
It looks like you're in front of a cheery server.
Yeah, it does.
You got a festive.
I love that you decorated deep blue for the holidays.
Yeah. I'm calling in from Microsoft HQ. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is my Xbox shelf.
Yeah, this is my Xbox back here. Actually.
The comments were right. We are shills.
Amir, did you have any problems with the front-facing USB?
No, I didn't actually. No issues with the USB. I did see people saying that there is a setting if turn on to make it charge your controller.
Yes.
I set mine up to just charge for 3 hours so my DualSense doesn't burn out.
Oh, that's
But
smart.
I did have a few a couple issues, a couple of glitches. Nothing major. I think I was playing Miles Morales. I got to the very last level, and then the game just crashed on me and my PS5 restarted. It was weird. That was one, and then I think the other one we did a daily on this. It was when you have a game in the disk drive, it will whir very loudly out of nowhere,
Yes.
even if you're not playing
Spins
it.
it up.
That happens a lot. That does happen a lot.
Really?
And it's very
That's unsettling.
noticeable. Yeah, it's very noticeable. But I mean, if I'm not playing the game, obviously I can just take it out. So that's just my own laziness. But I do hope they fix that because there's really no need for it to be whirring if I'm playing a different game.
Yeah.
So that's what's weird to me.
It's like the future that we are all afraid of with the Xbox One, where it needs to spin your disc to check it in to a server somewhere
Right.
to
Just making sure that you actually have the disc still in there.
yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Maybe that's what it is.
That is another thing, actually. I do wonder because it's the PS4 version of Mortal Kombat, so I could have gotten the PS5 version. I do wonder if it's because it's making sure I still have the right to play that version of the game. I wonder if I just have a PS5 game in there, if it won't do that.
I see.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
point. Yeah. That is a really
So
good point.
that is something I do want to try.
So-
So I don't have any PS5 discs yet.
Oh gosh, is the amount of patches for Mortal Kombat are 60 gigs then? Because you mentioned that. So you have a
Jeez,
disc
that'd
in
be-
there, and you have a 60 gig download on
That's
your
disgusting
hard
if that's true.
Jeez.
Well, it's like the PS5 version of it. So
Okay.
yeah.
Weird.
You know, actually, maybe that's why I had to have the PS4 version is because I have the disc of it.
I don't know.
Still, that doesn't make any sense.
We're in the
I don't
weeds,
know.
Still
yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah. Is there is there for this is for both of you? What's your least favorite thing about the console?
Oh, I got one. Not having either of them.
Yeah, same. It's like you read my mind.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, not really. Like, it's such an analog to its predecessor, at least in terms of the Series X, that it's there's not everything, every facet of it is better. I haven't noticed something that's like not as good or better than its previous version. So it's hard to kind of like say, I guess. I mean, just the lack of games really is the big one for me.
Yeah.
Amir,
Same.
you need more games. So go play
Sort
Demon's
of your
Souls.
your
You haven't played
classic
it yet.
launch console problem. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Well, that's
Yeah.
good though. It's good because we've reported on various horror stories, where people have had disk drive problems and various other things. But that's if a lack of games is the biggest problem, then that's
pretty
encouraging.
typical.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's just classic.
Welcome to the launch of the GameCube. You can have Rogue Squadron and Luigi's Mansion, and that's about it. But honestly, that's all you really needed.
So
Right,
far,
yeah.
so good. But I bet like after this podcast, now that Amir and I both said it, our consoles are just going to catch on fire.
Yeah.
So-
they're gonna just explode.
Yeah.
So here's my thing, and please correct me on this because I'm kind of like not fully aware of what even is happening with the PlayStation 5's launch of what the thing comes with.
Oh,
I mean, it comes with the console itself. It comes with the DualSense controller. It comes with Astro's Playroom, and there's the PlayStation Plus collection. Is the PlayStation Plus collection free? Is that a thing that's free, or is that?
no,
It's yeah. No, you have to have PlayStation Plus.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you have PlayStation Plus, you just get those games automatically if you didn't have them. So I assume you have PlayStation Plus.
Yes.
So with PlayStation Plus and buying your PS5, how many games did you add to your collection? Without buying an actual game?
Oh, without buying a game?
Yeah, because you said you bought Spider-Man, and I assume that's a separate purchase. But just by having PlayStation Plus and a PS5, what games did it all come with?
Caden's like a lawyer. I feel like I'm listening to SVU right now. Yeah.
Well, to be honest, I mean, I wasn't interested in any of them.
I mean,
So-
that's fair. It's more
Right.
for the sake of like buying a PS5 and just having PlayStation Plus. If somebody's jumping into this generation completely clean, what would they get?
Yeah. They get, I'm trying to like remember them off the top of my head, but it's like, I think it's like 20 games or something like
that's
that.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So you get like Mortal Kombat 10 for some reason. At some point.
Really?
Yeah, and like
I don't know why.
Bloodborne and
Yeah, you get Bloodborne.
Okay, I mean, Bloodborne's kind of a requirement by
And that-
law
wait,
if you have a
Right.
PlayStation.
Yeah.
before we move on from Mortal Kombat, that story starts at 9, doesn't it? Wouldn't
Yeah, MK9 is where it starts.
Yeah.
that starts that story?
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you could play MK9 through PlayStation Now.
Sure.
Which is,
Yay.
You could have just threw it on there. I don't know. That's weird.
yeah. But it's just weird to me that, like, when the newest game has already been out for like 2 years, why not just pop that one on there? Just the base version. People can
Yeah.
get the DLC if they want.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's just a lot of stuff that, I mean, they got Days Gone, I guess. I'm planning to probably start that soon because I still haven't played it yet.
Okay, so yeah, you're right. There's 20 games. That's a lot of games, plus Astro's Playroom. I pulled up a list.
I heard Days Gone looks incredible on PS5. Like people
Well,
are
you
saying
know
like
what? It-
I want to play
it
this
kinda
now
needs
because it
to.
looks good. Yeah.
Because Days Gone
Right.
played like, yikes, on my PS4 Pro.
That's what I
It is-
heard.
It is good that I feel like they had to respond to Game Pass somehow, and this it's not it's a little bit of a band-aid, but at least they're throwing you some kind of bone.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's not like there are any like notably like super bad games here.
No,
Bloodborne,
not at
Days
all.
Gone, Detroit Become Human, God of War, Infamous Second Son, Ratchet and Clank, The Last Guardian, The Last of Us Remastered, Until Dawn, Uncharted 4, Batman Arkham Knight, Battlefield 1, Call of Duty Black Ops 3, Zombies Chronicles Edition. Need to make sure that's Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy, Fallout 4, Final Fantasy 15 Royal Edition. I don't know, Battle Royales on my brain too much. Monster Hunter World, Mortal Kombat X, Persona 5, and Resident Evil 7 Biohazard. That's a lot of games.
yeah,
There's
Monster
some
Hunter
bangers.
World
There's
is-
there's some bangers in there.
There-
Slide that in there.
There's a lot of good games, but it's one of those things for me. Like I have most of those games already like purchased in
Yep.
my. I could just re-download if I wanted to, and like you know, again, it's just like I don't really want to go back and play some of those, like because I've already played them so many times. I'd probably go back and replay Final Fantasy 15 if anything.
Here's where I'm gonna flip it though. Hey Evan, you have an Xbox Series X.
Yeah.
And I assume you have Game Pass, right?
Dun. Yeah, I feel like.
What games do you
Yes, officer.
Name
without
all of them.
purchasing anything? How much do you have?
Oh, dude, it's unlimited. Like I've just been downloading like crazy. I'm like, oh yeah, I want to play that. I want to play this. I want to play that. It's with Game Pass. It's like, and then obviously like my back catalog and everything. It's all there. I guess it's just wild. Yeah, it's incountable. Whatever's on Game Pass, I should plug my Xbox in and just look right now. But it's yeah. Like just this morning, I turned on my Xbox and just downloaded 2 games because I was like, oh, I should have these so I can play them later. And I probably won't, you know, like, I don't know. That's been the weird thing. But right now
you
we're
feel
like
it's-
crunching for
Do you
holiday.
feel it's overwhelming with
Right.
choice? Do you feel like you're in the middle of a Steam sale and you're just like, I'm gonna get all these things, and you're gonna come back to it in like a week? It's just like, what should I play?
Yeah.
Browse through your Game Pass like Netflix and be just like, I'll just make a sandwich instead.
I think it's
Yeah.
eliminated in a lot of ways. Like I didn't even care about the Steam sale this year that much because it was just like, okay, well I have Series X and like Game Pass, I'm gonna probably be fine for the most part. And if there was something, you know, on sale that like hit my email notification at Steam, then I could go and get it. But it's like for the most part, it is that feeling, like, but so much to the degree that it just like it's numbed me. And but also like I'm the type of player who can prioritize the games that I want to play because I know what games I'd want to talk about first on different
Right.
podcasts or like just in Twitter or whatever. So that's usually how I organize like what games and what order I play in. But like yeah, the lists getting longer is definitely a problem. Like I still haven't played Gears Tactics and I want to play that, you know.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask because I sometimes I get paralyzed by just having too many options.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, well, and I'll just retreat to something I played a million times when I have like 50 things I need to play.
Yeah.
I have Assassin's
Yeah.
Creed Valhalla right now and so many other games that are like on my backlog, and I have Miles Morales downloaded, Brian. I'm playing Hollow Knight again.
Oh god. I mean that's
Right. I totally respect that.
That's
Yeah,
usually how it goes.
yeah, that's not a bad
I
move.
do want to ask
either.
you, Evan.
Go ahead.
I do want to ask you, Evan. So you have, because like, okay, my whole thing because I really do want an Xbox specifically for Game Pass and obviously for back, because I still have 360 games like in my closet. You know, like you, I have boxes of just old video game shit that just stays in the boxes because like I don't want to set everything up.
Yeah.
So I do want to ask you, like, do you typically play games on like a PC? Like, are you more inclined to like sit down and play these games like, you know, in front of a TV, or do you like typically like to do that in front of your PC?
Oh yeah, not at all. Like I like organically am like probably like a console game player because it's just how I grew up. I didn't have a computer till super
Right.
late. Like my parents
Yep.
didn't get one till it was later, and like it wasn't that
That's
common.
how I was too.
Yeah, growing up. So I would play PC games and stuff like StarCraft, but I'd like be playing them next to a friend at their house, and they'd be like, "Hey, check this out," and then you're like, "Oh my god, like how do I do this?" And then when I finally got my own PC, then I could like catch up with like using keyboard and mouse and stuff. But it's definitely like not my comfort zone. Like organically gravitate towards like console games.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess does that answer your question or?
No, it does. Yeah, it totally does. Because like that's the thing for me. Because for a while, you know, because like I have a PC, right? Like I play very casual games on it. Like I play like VR and then maybe like a few games with friends. But like when it comes to like when I actually want to play games, it's usually my preferred method is on a console. So that's why I'm still considering getting an Xbox for Game Pass, so I can do it in my living room and not in my office.
And yeah, I know there's going to be people who are saying like, well, you could just do like a PC setup to your TV, like, or like have a larger monitor or whatever that you do a PC setup for. And that is like, definitely an option, but it's that still then you're like moving around with like a keyboard and a mouse near a couch or something sometimes to like navigate certain things. If you just need to like close a pop-up or something, that stuff gets weird. So I understand it. And like, yeah, I guess the true test is like Cyberpunk, right? Like for me, I generally tend to, and this might hurt some people's feelings or whatever, but I generally tend to like favor the comfort of like while playing a game. Whereas like if we're editing all day or something for like a game like Cyberpunk is a perfect example. Like, I don't want to like edit a video all day or like work on edits or like, for example, maybe this podcast or something. And then when I'm finished that, just like switch the tab over and then just like fire up and sit in my same chair and do all that and then just like fire up a game.
Right.
Like some people can do that. For me, it's nice to have that separation. And for some games, I'll do that for, you know, some games are worth it. Like I probably will want to see what Cyberpunk runs like on my PC. But like I'm not somebody who has a PC that's like super decked out where it would like make that big of a difference. So yeah, I'm primarily going to play Cyberpunk on the Series X. That's kind of why I got it. Or if I had a PS5, I would probably try it on there. So yeah, it is that weird situation. And now I think we were talking about on another podcast where like, when Mike Williams was on, he was talking about how like, yeah, usually PC has that like really special tech that's like, this is what makes PC gaming so much better than everybody else. And right now I think we kind of get here at the end of console life cycles. Like things are kind of at a parity, right? It's like load times, processing, and then like, you know, resolution. Most PC like stuff is going to be 1440 right now. So it's like, it's right there, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd say my PS5 runs a hell of a lot better than my PC now.
There you go. Yeah. And some
I mean,
people-
it's relative. That makes sense. I mean, given how new the console is, I mean, you know, PC, a high-end PC is still going to beat it, but that, you know,
Right.
I think
if your
that's-
PC is long in the tooth, I mean, that totally makes sense.
I think that's the one thing that people don't seem to completely comprehend when it comes to like watching like a game journalist or even like content creators in general. When we're spending a tremendous amount of time making the stuff on our computers, the last thing we want to do is sit at a desk at that same
That's a
PC
really
and
good
play a
point.
game.
Yeah.
That's a really
having
great
that
point.
having that ability to disconnect. You know, I'm sitting on a chair that is incredibly uncomfortable. I've been sitting on this chair ever since quarantine. I hate this
me.
chair. I hate it. It's literally something I found in a thrift store. I don't want to sit here and I don't want to play. And yes, that's a little bit on me.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I have a cushy couch in the other room.
Right,
That is a
right.
lovely,
It's so much
wonderful
better.
couch. And there's a PlayStation 4 Pro and there's a Xbox One X in there and my Switch dock. It's like, yeah, no, I
Hang
want
out
to
with
be
your
there.
Dog,
And-
get some snacks.
Yeah, exactly. This is so much of a work dojo for me. That the last thing I
Yeah.
want to do is sit here and play games.
That's such a
on
good
this thing.
That's such a good point, and I
Yeah.
think that's one of the big reasons behind the Switch's success and other things. Because I've always preferred, honestly, either on the couch or stretched out on my bed, like
Yup.
playing. Just
You know,
like
lounging on the bed, have the 3DS open,
right,
just chilling.
have a
Yeah,
3DS, have a TV show on that I'm kind of half paying attention to at the same time,
on the toilet.
And
or a
there-
podcast, definitely on the toilet. Yeah,
And in there lies the real kind of like reason why consoles kind of work and why a lot of people are just very excited about these next gen consoles is because yeah, you could totally beat out, you know, what the PS5 and the Xbox Series X are doing with a really nice PC. But, you know, at the same time, that's not an experience that everyone can share. That's your computer.
Right.
You don't want your
Right.
little brother or,
Oh,
you know,
sure.
like
Yeah.
other people messing
Right.
with your stuff
That's
in
right.
those
Yes.
situations. But you can always just get another controller and pass it to them. And that's where consoles have a little bit of
Very
an edge on certain
shareable.
things.
Yeah.
It's a very shareable experience and so on and so forth. And it's hey, I'm going to play this really cool game. Why don't you all come watch me? I don't want anybody in my office. Leave me alone. this is where I work.
Right.
Even if you're like a streamer or just somebody who has like their PC as part of work, it's like, this is work, that is play. And there is a way to separate those things. So having the ability to play games at near beefy PC levels in a couch environment where it's in the living room space, that's awesome.
I also
Yeah.
think, and especially during the pandemic, whenever, lots of people, including us, are working from home, any little difference, it becomes a lot bigger. So like you said,
Yeah.
just being able to move off your work computer, and even if it's just across the room onto a couch, is still like a different experience and a welcome one.
Yeah, switching modes for
100%.
sure. And PCs, I think, will continue to get interesting. Like, I think, was it Razer that just announced they have a modular PC coming out where you're just going to be able to swap the parts super, super easily. But again, like for console gaming, it's always going to come back to those exclusives and what you can only play on those boxes. And maybe Microsoft is moving away from that for a little bit, but they're still catering to people who would want to sit down on their couch and play games. Maybe a little bit more like, Horizon came to PC like this past year, and maybe Sony will continue to kind of do that with exclusives after they're out for a while. But I think like there's always something about those exclusives that even if they don't like quite get there to that technical prowess, they are something like really special to look at. Like the Uncharted games for me have always been kind of like, I mean, I haven't seen a PC game that like actually looks like this or plays like this or whatever at the time when it comes out.
That's right.
It's usually like something they find a way to like make it special, either like technically or like visually somehow, or just even the gameplay experience itself.
So I think we should also get into like what we want to see just moving forward, like from the next gen consoles.
Yeah,
I would like a PS5 and an Xbox Series X in my living room. That's what I like to see.
Yeah.
So let's start with Amir. You've mentioned a bunch of little bugs here and there. I assume you want those sorted out.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I will say like a lot
He's
of
like,
stuff
no,
that we
they're
report on-
fine. I've grown to love them.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. No, they're my roommates now.
We cool. Charles,
Right.
the disc spin. Yeah, he and I are tight now.
Right. Yeah, a lot of the stuff that we reported on in the daily, I mean, they are like annoying, they're very mildly annoying, right? Like the disc spinning, it goes away after a few seconds. Like I'm not, I kind of just know like it'll stop, and then if it happens again, whatever. It's just like a lot of small things that don't matter. I'm sure they'll be patched out. And it comes with the territory. I didn't even want to get a next gen console right away. I got it on accident.
Yeah. The thing that makes me so mad about this
Don't
situation.
say that. Yeah, it makes me so mad.
So I'm like, whatever. I'll pick it up.
Man
And
accidentally
I love
buys PS5 roasted by coworker.
I guess I'll accidentally pick up the hottest consumer item of the year. Yeah.
Just accidentally just threw this.
Total ass move. Come on.
Were you just sort of half-heartedly trying and you got it? How did you get it?
Well, so I was screen recording just like show how hard it was to get a console is for the feature, and I was like, oh, I got one in my cart, and I'm checking out. Oh, I got it. Okay, cool.
You like proved the whole concept of your video wrong. Yeah.
Exactly.
Notice
yeah.
it wasn't in the cut.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I was like, oh, they'll probably cancel it. You know what? But they didn't, and it just showed up like super early out of nowhere. So I'm like, all right, cool. I have a PS5 now. But what I really want to see, because again, Mortal Kombat 11, it doesn't utilize these badass freaking haptic triggers.
Yeah.
I want more games to use this. I know
Especially a fighting game. The possibilities there are
Oh,
like...
dude, that'd be so cool. Because like, honestly, like this is like the biggest. At first, I was like, all right, this is gonna be a stupid gimmick. It'll probably break. A lot of developers probably won't use it. It's gonna be dumb. But after like messing with it in Spider-Man, like it's so cool. You feel it like there's pressure, and then it lets go, and then there's a little bit of pressure when it goes back up. So you feel the motion of like the web slinging.
Mhm.
That is so cool to me, and I really
That's
hope
cool.
more games do stuff with this because that's either that. Sorry, one last thing. Either that, or I hope they retroactively go back and in games that are compatible with the PS4, I hope that they do something with it to like just make it work. Put a little bit of pressure on it. That'd be cool. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Yeah, I think if the way you've explained the DualSense today is better than a lot of takes that I've seen about people just saying it's really cool. You won't know until you feel it, but like the way you've described how it works, just like gets me even more excited about it. I think on the Xbox side, just games. Like I just want good games. I know they're coming. It's probably a year out before we start seeing, maybe even longer, but at least 6 to 7 months before we start really seeing, maybe Halo Infinite gets announced, comes out before that, but 6 or 7 months before we start seeing those exclusive studios really start to ramp up and start putting content out. So that's really all it is. Like, I don't feel disappointed in my purchase or whatever, because again, it's just like an upgrade from the previous Xbox, and like in every shape and form, the feel, the load times, the resolution, if you care about that sort of thing, frame rate and all that too is like definitely feels better where it's applicable. But yeah, mostly just games. And gosh, other than that, I can't really think of an ask. For me, like, I hate smart TVs. I just want like a better monitor. Like, I wish somebody would just make like a better, maybe like a screen that like just works for console gaming, like in a much more succinct way, with like kind of maybe some settings and things that you can adjust. But like, I don't know, this is going off on a tangent, but I just wish that there was like somebody would solve the we don't have CRTs anymore problem. And yeah, because I've seen like, I don't know if you guys follow like a lot of like obscure gaming rabbit holes, but there are people out there playing like new next gen consoles on CRTs, and they're like, it looks incredible, like for like really specific CRTs and stuff. I don't know.
Oh wow.
I think there's like room to go there. And yeah, I'd like to see more weird controller stuff. I know it doesn't always pan out, but like the DualSense is a perfect example of like changing the way we play these games, like at their very core. That's like the easiest way to do it. And that's what I'd like to see more of. Other than that, just like what's next, right? Like what's next for like new game experiences. I'd like to see that, but the console's fine for the most part. Maybe a little boring in that way, but I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Are you? Yeah. Overall, it sounds like both of you are happy with what you got. Am I hearing that correctly?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
I guess like
really all I'm hoping for is some kind of way to upgrade the solid state drive eventually, obviously.
Yeah, to add storage, which is supposedly coming. There's like for the PS5, it's like a particular type of M2 drive, right? And they need to like they have like third parties on standby, but it's like they need to like issue certain specifications that say like this is the size and shape it needs to be to fit in the footprint of the PS5. And then like luckily the Xbox just has that 1 terabyte card that will just go in there.
Right.
But yeah, I guess if they cleaned up the like just any of the confusion around like you are actually like just playing the best version of the game, like if there was just a mode to say like just always play the, and there is in the settings you can choose if you want to default to like performance or resolution mode, I believe, but like but for versions of games of like just make sure I'm playing like the most up-to-date thing.
And that's going to be around for a while because they're going to support the PS4 forever. I feel like it's not, they're not going to get rid of that anytime soon, and they're still going to, I mean, obviously they're going to pivot to the PS5, but I just feel like there's got to be.
Do you really think that they're gonna stay with the PS4 for that long?
I'm not saying like. Well, I know I just said forever, but I was being a little.
Well, the 10-year life cycle is usually
more
to the point. How long do you think? How long is forever, Brian?
I would say at least 2-3 years. They're going to keep going, pretty hard on it, just because there's so many of them out there. There's so many consoles sold.
The PS3 OS just got an update last week. So
wow,
but nothing came out for it.
Yes, the PS3.
What was the update?
I don't know.
The PS3 though didn't sell nearly what the PS4 did.
That's true.
I just wonder how much Sony's going to keep their titles coming out on that. I think they're gonna kind of they might like third party, yes. First party, I think that's it. It's over after Miles Morales and came out. I think that's their Breath of the Wild, and they're just like, that's it, we're done. Leave us alone.
I think they'll do a couple more. Like
I think they got some more.
Depending on how long.
Wouldn't they have done that with Demon Souls?
Not with the shortages they've had on the PS5, like there's just not enough PS5 owners at this point.
Yeah,
I suppose that's true.
That's also what I would say for now. But like you're gonna get definitive editions of like just like they did with all the Naughty Dog games, right? Like you're gonna get upgraded versions for PS5, and they're not gonna do like the Smart Link stuff like Xbox is doing. I have a really cool capture card that like tells me whenever I plug into it, it inside the card, I guess somehow it prompts my screen to say like what the settings are, what like everything's running at. And I just wish I kind of wish that consoles did that now, just so I kind of like take the guesswork out of it, so I don't have to like plug something else into it to be like, what is this actually, right? What is this natively? I wish it could take the guesswork out, but that's probably like a really specific thing to me and stuff that we do. But yeah, PS4 games are going to be a thing for a while. Like that, you don't just turn your back on that install base, especially when people are so mad they can't get a PS5. But
you say that about Nintendo though.
Well, they had a stinker though, but the Wii U was a stinker.
Yeah, but as soon Nintendo, as soon as a lot of like history of Nintendo stuff, I'm going to drag Nintendo through the mud here, is, oh look, a console's about to end. Cancel all projects on that console. Cancel everything. Move it to something else. And if you can't move it, cancel that, and then you fire half those people and pull them under a different name and call it a new studio.
I definitely agree. Sony wants to, especially Sony though, wants to, pivot to that PS5 as soon as they can. So it will be interesting in the next year or so, how quickly they are able to do that, because it is true. Yeah. And I have a base PS4 too. And it does take it can get
rough,
loud,
buddy.
and it takes forever to load. Yeah. And so I'm definitely one of those who's like ready to make that jump when the PS5 comes out.
Like more commonly. Yeah.
And I feel like there's a lot of people in the same boat. I'm but yeah, right now it's just a matter of supply, but also, once the pandemic gets under control, I don't know, I heard a news thing today saying that by the summer, the vaccine should be like pretty widely available. And maybe that'll be just a big changer and kind of a turnover point to where they can really like step on the gas and start, really cranking up production.
That would be awesome if people could actually buy PS5s and Xboxes. It would be cool.
Yeah, it'd be nice. It'd be nice if in a perfect world, everyone gets a PlayStation 5 and everybody gets a Series X. Unfortunately,
under socialism, it's possible.
These are some big ifs.
But it is cool to see two strong contenders here, because I don't think. I think there's a lot to like about both of these.
Yeah, they're going in completely different directions.
Yes.
And that's the fun part about this. We are finally in an age of, well, everybody's kind of competing with each other to a degree for money and time. The Xbox brand is now, we're thinking about it as you can play anything on us.
An ecosystem. Yeah, Amir, that's right. Yeah.
PlayStation is doubling down on the thing that they've done best, which is exclusives and first party stuff, and trying to have the most optimized things for these big brands. And Nintendo is doing whatever the hell Nintendo does.
Everybody under the sun right now. They're just really stepping in it. I think
treating their own fans.
And you know
like
what's gonna happen? You know what's gonna happen?
Getting rid of memorial joysticks.
Yeah,
they're not gonna.
right.
They're not gonna, and they're gonna suffer nothing. They're gonna suffer no ramifications for any of this, because guess what? They got your childhood. They got it just like Disney. They own all of the brands. So what are you going to do?
It is, but I wonder about the younger generation coming up that might not be as attached, or that might be just as attached to like a PlayStation or an Xbox.
Pokemon is the largest brand in the entire world. They ain't scared.
Yeah.
Well, they just ain't scared. They aren't.
My whole thing has been like, Nintendo has great games. The company sucks.
Yeah.
That's
Amir, you just summarized the entire industry. Oh look, these games are great. Why is everybody so mean? Why is everybody treating everybody so bad? What's happening here?
I would imagine,
though.
Evan, what's the first big exclusive that you're looking forward to playing on the Series X?
Gosh, it's gotta be Halo. Like,
I
haven't looked to see if the Ascent is out yet, but that was another game that really, like, I think I even made a video about it. But I really do want to play the Ascent. It's just been so busy, hadn't had time to look yet. If that's available, I'll like stop everything to play it like today. But and other than that, they haven't really messaged anything else, so I don't know what's on the horizon, right? Like I guess Everwild, that would be really cool.
Everwild looks cool.
Yeah, I mean further out, like Elder Scrolls 6 and
Stalker
Starfield
2,
and stuff
Hellblade
like
2,
that.
Fable. Avowed.
Yeah, Avowed is the other one that kind of just
They're
like
gonna, yeah,
jumped in there.
it's gonna be a beast. I mean, you know, it might take a few years, but it'll happen.
It's definitely going to take a little
yeah,
bit longer
slow
than
burn.
they would have liked, because they were supposed to come out like hitting it with Halo, and then all of a sudden it's like,
Yeah.
all right, well, now what do we do? But that's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not what their console's really about. That wasn't the big selling point, and they made a point of saying that. It's like, yes, we will have some exclusives. They will be great. We're also going to have some of these available on PC for you if you have PC Game Pass. So you still don't need the damn console. For most of them. Not all of them.
Right.
Oh, it says
What about
Yeah.
what about you, Amir? Anything you're looking forward to?
So, I don't think Resident Evil Village is going to be an exclusive anymore. I think they decided to put it back on previous gens, but originally that was like the reason why I wanted a PS5 was for, because I thought the next Resident Evil game was going to be next gen only. But I don't know if that's the case anymore. So, God, I don't know. Maybe like the next God of War. I'm really stoked about that.
Yeah.
gosh, yeah, that is a game.
I'm
where-
assuming that's probably going to be PS5 only.
Was it Ragnarok
Depending how
or
far out
something?
it is.
that
yeah,
what-
Ragnarok.
Yeah.
Everything's
Yeah.
Ragnarok now. You do.
I was
you do
gonna
one
say, yeah.
You do one
Yeah.
Norse thing. The next thing you do has got to be Ragnarok.
All of that
Exactly.
public domain Norse mythology. Yes.
Hell yeah, baby.
Yeah.
All right, let's call it a podcast there. We hope you guys are having a great new year. I hope you're playing lots of games, and we will see you soon.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.